What if someone lied to you today and you didn't even notice? We often imagine deception as the work of criminal masterminds, but the vast majority of lies are told by colleagues, friends, and partners, ordinary people, every single day. Movies have conditioned us to look for certain behaviors when we suspect a lie. We expect the person to avoid eye contact, start sweating, or fidget with their hands. But behaviors like crossing arms or looking away are unreliable indicators. More often than not, they simply mean someone is tired, anxious, or uncomfortable. There is no single universal sign that guarantees someone is lying. No detective or psychologist can identify a lie with total certainty just by observing a facial expression. Relying on a generalized checklist of tells makes us vulnerable. True observation requires moving past these stereotypes to analyze how a specific individual handles a specific moment. Effective observation starts with a baseline, an understanding of how a person behaves in their normal, relaxed state. You look for their typical speech patterns, how they maintain eye contact, and how they project confidence. To maintain a lie, the brain has to simultaneously invent facts and suppress the truth. This dual effort creates internal mental pressure, which often causes an involuntary break from that established baseline. One frequent result of this pressure is a sudden shift into overcompensation. Truthful people share information naturally, but those fabricating a story may feel the need to explain too much. They provide hyper-specific, irrelevant details, like exact timestamps or mundane purchases. This happens because of a false assumption that a high volume of data points will automatically make a story seem more credible. When details seem excessive or unprompted, they aren't providing context, they are being used to manufacture a sense of honesty. A person telling the truth generally wants to clarify a misunderstanding. Someone lying often feels an urgent need to end the interaction entirely. This can lead to a sharp change in tone. When faced with simple questions, the speaker might respond with sudden anger or character attacks, saying things like, "Why don't you trust me?" or "You're overthinking this." This emotional volatility acts as a distraction. It attempts to shift the focus away from the facts and pull the observer into a personal conflict. There is also a cognitive difference in how we recall information. Accessing a lived experience is straightforward, but maintaining a fabricated story requires constant mental maintenance. If you ask the same question in different ways over time, those fabricated details often shift. The timeline becomes inconsistent, and facts that were once specific suddenly become vague or disappear. Hostility and changing timelines aren't necessarily signs of a bad memory. They are the results of the brain struggling to uphold a reality that doesn't exist. Human behavior is varied enough that an isolated anomaly doesn't prove anything. Accusing someone based on a single restless movement or one defensive answer is often just a reaction to your own assumptions. Reliability comes when these behaviors converge. When several deviations, such as sudden over-detailing, a defensive reaction, and a shifting timeline, all occur together, they form a pattern that is nearly impossible to consciously control. Recognizing these patterns requires patience and a commitment to objective observation. It means setting aside your gut instinct to look at the evidence of how a person's behavior has actually changed. Developing this awareness changes the way you process information. By focusing on patterns rather than suspicions, you move past the simple question of whether someone is lying and start to see what they aren't telling you.